Alright, so I'm going to be doing a VOD review for Venatus. I believe you play Sig, Rein, and Orisa this game. And you said you've been stuck kind of like high plat, plat 1, diamond 5 for about a year and a half now. I guess a quick remark about that. Because of the rank reset, it's actually more difficult. I don't know exactly how more difficult. It's not really that important. It is more difficult to get to diamond now than it was at the beginning of Overwatch. I mean, I guess at the very beginning, right, the rank system was a little messed up. It was kind of like a progression system. Like I think around season 3 or 4, they redid it. So your MMR and your display rank were the same. I think that's pretty much how it is now, right? Regardless, I think diamond at the time was like top 10, 15%, something like that. And now I think it's like 5 to 10%. I don't know exactly, but it is more difficult. And two, I'll also remark that like people have also been improving, right, compared to a year and a half ago. So I'd expect, the general player base, I expect that the skill level of today's Diamond 5 Plat 1 is higher than how it was a year and a half ago based off that alone. So just a bit of a hope for you, I suppose, right? I will mention also that your hero pool seems to be really quite large. Since you play Sigma, Ball, Rein, Orisa, and Diva. I don't know if those are the only tanks you play, but generally speaking, right, people, even like the best tank players in the game, generally speaking, play like 2 to 3 tanks, at a specific level, and then the rest of them won't be so good. For a reference, like if I really wanted to grind the game again, I could probably like get a new account and at the very least get to like high masters on like playing Hog only or playing like Sig or Zarya only, stuff like that, and get like high, mid-high masters at the minimum playing one-tricking those characters. But if I were to play like Doomfist or something that I really don't ever play, I could probably still at least get diamond just because my fundamentals there, but I have like no like character specific mechanics, and there's absolutely no way I could hit the same piece, right? I'm being a little conservative in my estimates, right? Just to give you it's not, just give you an idea of like what to expect, right? Regardless, I think the top 3 things you need to work on, first and foremost, your positioning is questionable at times, right? You're not really positioning yourself to your character's strengths a lot of the times, right? And you're not responding to like what kind of characters on the enemy team. This is kind of vague. I'll demonstrate that. But basically, what you should be looking for is playing a corner where your team can get multiple angles on the enemy team, right? And where you're not getting shot from multiple angles by the enemy team, right? And you also want to be playing to your character strengths, like I said, like for the Sigma against Rein matchup, you want to be playing kind of longer angles and in the open. So if he wants to cross those angles, right, he has to get spammed down and waste all of his shield by the time he gets to you. 2, I think your engagement timing, this kind of builds off the previous point, your engagement timing needs some work, right? You're kind of consistently just overextending through choke points for kind of no reason, and kind of paying the price for it, right? You don't necessarily immediately die, but what happens is you'll lose a ton of HP and or like shield resources, right? And allow the enemy team just to keep walking on you, and just like either eventually kill you, force all your supports to heal you, and waste all their resources on you, or your teammates die as a result because now they're overextended because they're positioned around where you were originally and are getting healed from your supports, right? Again, kind of this builds off the first point. If you're consistently like peeking 5 players too early before your team even has time to set up, right? And they have a ton of angles on you, you're just gonna explode, right? This is kind of how it is, right? You have to go slower around these corners a lot of times and wait for someone to overextend to like actually give you a reason to push past these chokes. Thirdly, I think your cooldowns need some work. On Rein, there's really not a whole lot I can say except you just charge into like 5 players way too often. But on Sigma, particularly, you only play Orisa a little here. I have a feeling it's a common theme. You kind of waste your rock a lot, just like throwing your rock into a Rein shield for kind of no reason. This replay, I'm probably gonna mostly focus on your Sig gameplay because I think you play Sig for like the majority of your gameplay. So most of my tips will be tailored towards Sig. You're right. Yeah, I'm gonna destroy those things. Okay, so you know they're on rein Symmetra here, so you know they're gonna be playing some like comp that wants to get in your face, right? So you want to be like, this is fine here, swinging the wide angle. Obviously this rock's okay. Rotating away from the Rein's fine here, right? Here, I'm not really a huge fan of this because no one's really shooting you. You still do a decent amount of HP. It's not gonna save you just Rein. So here, right, this is kind of what I mean. You don't want to be taking this angle against the Reinhardt. Extended wise, right? You want to help your team cross so they have like a ton of angles this way, right? I will note the Moira's here. I didn't even notice that, but it's not really that important. So your team can take all these angles, right? And once your team's set up like all over here, right? You know, you can have your Pharah like playing on this hotel, and your Widow could be like here-ish, right? And your Zen, and you can be like with them over here, right? Something like that. Then the Rein can't play in the open. You force him off the point just by spamming him away, right? It's okay to like play here to help your team get through the choke, right? But be careful of walking up too close, which you do kind of right here, right? And obviously you just rock a shield. This is kind of the overextend from you. It doesn't seem like much, but you walking from here to here is an overextend right now, because if they want to, their Kiri can keep swinging the corner no matter how far away you walk, right? And she's never going to lose LOS, and same as the Symmetra, right? Like, if she just holds W right now behind her Rein, there's nothing you can do to break her LOS because you overextend beyond this corner. Here we are. And they see that, and they just walk at you, and just, at this point, nothing you can do because you just got too close. Unfortunately, you shouldn't have lost players there. It is what it is, but... Unfortunately, the Sombra's kind of farming your backline. There's really not a whole lot you can do about that. You just have to wait for your spawners right here. It's okay to spam the Rein. I would probably in this position, once like you don't see their Sombra, just like sit pretty much where you're sitting and just spam the Rein shield. If he holds it, he's just wasting his shield. You're like not really wasting resources, so. Again, here, I didn't say this at the beginning, shield usage kind of ties in with cooldown usage, right? You have a habit of just using it kind of randomly. Like, there's literally no one on your screen when you shield sometimes that can even, like, interact with your shield, right? Like, all of Rein's stuff goes through it. So, yeah. Here, right, you're playing this close corner, but you don't want to be playing close because he can just swing on you, and if he gets low, he just backs up, right? But if you get low, he just walks on you because you're too close. If you like go this angle here, for example, right, you're still safe from their backline, but you can still shoot the Rein, right? And that forces him either just to waste his shield sitting on this angle, or just back up and give you team space, right? By playing this close, you're just giving him opportunities to walk into, and you use rock kind of for no reason, but also to get him off, right? So you're just kind of eating all this unnecessary damage and slowing your team's push down, because now you're forcing your Zen to keep his orb on you instead of like the Pharah or something. Obviously in this situation it's not that big of a deal, but I'm sure you can see now you're just like kind of peeking into their entire team, right? Like I said, your engagements are too early. You have to get this guy off the corner before you start aggressing into him, right? You're just like taking damage from the Rein for no reason here, right? Again, like, yeah, you maybe would have hit the rock. That's unfortunate timing for the Symmetra turret to block your rock, but it probably wasn't even aimed at the Symmetra in the first place, right? You just kind of like rocking for no reason here. You're not swinging wide enough to like consistently, get picks. Like if you had your rock now, for example, this is a great opportunity to rock and one-shot the Symmetra, right? You can't one-shot Symmetra anymore, but you're like stun her and like do a ton of burst damage to her, so it's likely that your team will just shoot her once and then kill her, right? So. Here, right, you're giving this Rein a lot of value by walking into him. If he wants to, he can still like do a lot of damage to you just by like sitting right here and swinging on you, right? Like he LOSs your entire backline, does a ton of damage to you, and forces your entire team to heal you instead of helping your DPS take angles, right? I would still be going on the right side. Because now, if you were going right side to begin with, like you'd still be able to whittle down a shield, but now you'd be able to take this angle and kill the Rein, right? Your team can already spam the Rein if he's playing here, right? And your Pharah can completely ignore him, but like you're not letting your team walk this way because you're sitting main, right? Honestly, one of them should be going right side too, but you know it is Plat1. So. This is fine, even though they're in Kiri Rush, right? They're low on resources. That's why this works. So Rein is really low in shield, and they're down their Sombra, right? So this works. So it's okay to fight and rush. Generally speaking, you don't really want to fight and rush though. Here, I think it's okay to cap. You know, sometimes your team can be untrustworthy. I think ideally you should be pressing forward to get those picks, but that's okay. Someone has to cap, right? You can't necessarily always trust your team, so. It's fine, you can't really do anything here, right? Except spin the live shield. Here again, kind of walking forward, I won't say for no reason, but a little risky, right? He could pin you away from your team and kill you. Especially because you know at least one of your supports is on bot, or not on the cart, right? Here, no reason to go back, right? If your Sombra just like 3v or 1v3s your backline, you're just going to lose the game anyways. You don't want to give up the pressure on the front line. What you want to have happen is you can hold off 3 or 4 players, because your positioning is just better than the enemy team, while the Sombra engages 1v3 or something like that, right? Like I said, if your team's consistently losing 1v3s to the Sombra, your team is just trolling and you're just going to lose the game no matter what. Your goal should be to not to deny her engages from getting any follow-up, right? If she like way overextends, right, and you're already on cart to begin with and she just drops into like 4 players, yeah, just shoot her because you have nothing else to do. But here you could be like holding back the rest of her team from committing, right? No reason to give up the space you already had on the front line to go deal with the Sombra, right? Because now if this Rein was smarter, he could just charge this corner and make it really difficult for you guys to like walk past this corner, right? Because this entire team get set up around him at that position. You can't do anything to consistently anyway, so like you either waste your time looking for her, or like she just like trolls and just literally drops into 4 players, right? You see, like now the problem is she's made a lot of space for her team and let the Rein walk to the corner, right? And if he was a better player, he could like sit on this corner for a really long time. This is okay. Just be aware that Sombra can hack you out of your ult. I think it's risky to go for this because of that. If you shield right in the air and you know you're getting hacked, you can just go on the other side of it, right? And it's like not the end of the world because she also is just literally in the middle of your entire team, so it's a very low chance like the hack will go off, right? So just be aware. This is good here. So. Okay, nice wall shots, right? Once you see you have 4 on cart, right, I'd be walking forward, right? There's literally no reason to get more than 3 on cart. If you just literally keep walking up here, right, and play like this corner-ish, right, you can make the Rein have a really hard time, right? Because there's like no way he can easily rotate around you without wasting his charge and making himself overextended by going too fast, right? So if you just spam them as they come in, you'll be guaranteed to cap as long as you leave 3, even if you have 1 card, honestly. Shouldn't have been wasting time going back to cart there, right? You already have 3 in cart, it only moves, it maxes out at 3x, which is why I say that. So, like here, right, this Rein could already have half his shield whittled down if you're just playing more forward to begin with. This is kind of what you don't want to have happen here, right? Like, their entire team's regrouped, right? And it's kind of too late. They're on cart, and they have, like, this giant 4,000 HP wall. Okay, this fight isn't... You let them group up, right? Because you were on cart not doing anything is my point, right? Like your positioning was just not forward enough there to like waste their resources as they come in. Like looking at their team comp, if they just take the brawl fight against you, which is like the 5-man, like just run it down mid, they're gonna win. And like you have to consider that your entire team was in cart, so like you're kind of like taking the brawl matchup in that situation where you're just stacked in one spot, and they're just gonna win, right? Because their characters are just better at it than at yours, right? So like. Yeah, I mean, you could have like shield blocked Shatter. That's like a small thing you could have obviously improved on, but like your primary mistake was like stacking with your team instead of wasting their resources as they walk in. If you backed up, right, if you play where I told you to play and like back up as they walk, you're in no danger of dying and you just waste all their resources, right? That's okay though. Like, you have a few chances here. I will say your grasp isn't too valuable in this matchup, right? So if you see the Rein like double fire strike, I'd be looking to grasp him, right? I might as well get the overhealth and deny him any sort of ult charge, because like your grasp is not going to save you against the Moira. It's not going to save you against the whatever Symmetra. It could save you against the whatever her name is, Sombra. But there's good chance she'll just off angle you, right, and just kind of shoot you through it. And obviously it does really nothing to Rein either. So. Here, no reason to shield, right? Again, kind of a waste of a rock, right? I will say the shield health thing, right? You're just kind of wasting your shield. You can block off people's heals with shield, right? So if you just like slowly pick this corner, right? Because they don't have like the trade-off from your kinetic grasp being useless is that they don't really have good range damage against you, right? So you can just peek these corners without shielding, right? Conserve your shield health and be looking to block off people that are overextended heals with your shield, right? So they have pretty poor shield right now. Again, shield for no, rock for no reason, right? You get the shield. I mean, I already said that, but this would be a great opportunity to shield approximately like right here, right? And block off the Rein from getting healed, right? Because if the supports want to heal him, they either have to pop coalescence, right? And they're about to do that anyways. You could have done this a little sooner, or swing wide and open themselves up to getting shot by your team much more easily, right? That's okay, right? That's the stuff you want to be looking for when your shield doesn't get necessarily a lot of like here, right? Once they pop Kiri Rush and whatever Moira coalescence, I just look to run away, just LOS and stuff, right? Right, don't randomly throw rocks. Like it's not punishing you now. Like it's not a tool that's gonna like consistently get one shots. Like if you're playing Hog or something, and you just like pre-hook a corner, you can just like randomly get a pick, right? You know, randomly hook someone. But when you throw a rock, right, what happens is they get stunned and hit behind the corner. And now if someone like flanks you, you don't have rock for that, right? Because the cooldown is like almost double the duration of hooks. And even if you hit someone, they're not going to get like consistently one shot around cover anyways. So there's like no reason to do stuff like that. Again, right? Just let the Kiri rush run out, right? No reason to be walking forward this soon. Okay, unfortunate. Your dude goes way too fast. I don't know what he was trying to do. Right? Going really close here. Like, this is not what you want to be against a Reinhardt, right? You lose one, what you should be doing is trying to kite and bait someone to following you and your team that's overextended. And if you're kiting to begin with, this Sombra could easily just die here and just get traded out, right? And now it's a 4v4. Just don't push when you're down players, right? Unless you have like a ton of other advantages. Here, obviously, you don't really have any other advantages, right? No one is low, so. Here, you flux too early, right? Because your team doesn't have LOS of your flux targets, you have to solo kill people. You see your team is like here, right? You're down one DPS, which is going to make it tough, and your Rein just killed your other DPS. But assuming they're both alive, right, they'd probably be around here in this area, and you see like you're fluxing the corner, but you're the only one that can see him, right? So what you really want to do is one, not flux when your DPS are dead, ideally, or flux someone that's all alone and overextended. Or, you know, giant groups who bait out a ton of cooldowns. It's unfortunate your cast died literally the exact same time. But like if the difference between you flexing them here and you flexing them here, I'm sure you can see from like your team's LOS perspective is like massive, right? Like your Mercy can't tell what's going on. And imagine if you had a DPS, obviously this time it doesn't make a difference, but in like the future, I'd imagine this happens a lot, right? You're flexing too early and like not letting your team follow up. Big thing, don't shoot the Symmetra because she can get double pocketed. You have to go for the Moira there. You, as Sigma, generally cannot kill people that are getting double pocketed, right? So, like, it's good to waste the resources. Like you can force out a ton of support cooldowns, but you really want to be targeting the supports in those situations, right? Again, shield doesn't really do anything here. Could have shield blocked that, right? Again, it's kind of a small thing. Your primary mistake was just giving her a lot of value to this Rein, and just flexing in a bad position, right? Your teammates could follow up on the flux. Alternatively, you could have also fluxed the Rein in your backline there. Something to keep in mind, right? So he just gets lifted in the air. Again, no DPS, he's be tough to kill him still. Here, your entire team's dead, right? It's just you and your break, your cast is like 100% dead. It's trade. I wouldn't be confident in winning this, especially because there are tanks here. I think you just had to hit that one shot. You actually, since you're already here, right, might as well try to capitalize, right? You miss one of the projectiles and that lets the Symmetra live. Here, right, you put your shield too far. A Sig, right? A lot of times you just want to barely tap your mouse too, so like goes like barely in front of you, so you can shield dance and effectively double your HP, right? Because you have 700 shield, right? Now you're just too overextended, right? You're just gonna die. So just let the Symmetra. Still may be winnable, right? Kind of here, right? Just at this point, right? You're already in. Just kind of have to hit your shots, unfortunately. Made some positional mistakes earlier on. Here, you just gotta hit your shots. The best of your ability. You missed too much on this Kiri, you missed on the Sombra. Both of them were killable players. It happens sometimes, right? I'm sure you can see there were like things you didn't need to necessarily take the fight that quickly, right? This is the primary issue. Obviously, if you stayed alive a bit longer, you could have fluxed too. Something to keep in mind. Okay, on to defense. Swap to Rein. I assume for the whatever Zarya, I think Sig can work against Zarya as well. If you play correctly, I do think Rein's easier to play though. Into Zarya specifically. Here, I wouldn't even be like necessarily peeking unless you're looking to fire strike an angle here. It's just going to eat unnecessary damage, right? In general, I don't like playing this corner as Reinhardt to begin with. One, they have methods of getting around you, right? They have the Sombra and the Symmetra. They can literally just do this, and you can't stop them. And two, in my opinion, you're just kind of banking on the fact that your team is better than their team. Like the only times I've ever seen this hold here work is like one team is like significantly better than the other. Not to say you can't buy time here, but the problem is they have spawn literally right here, and they can take a ton of angles to force you off this corner. And if they force out all your resources, right, because they have better cover here, right, and they can take a ton of angles, like they can play here, they can play up here, and they have a lot of ways to get around you, right? Your team kind of only has like one way to look at them, right? So it's like not great, but it's workable. Just something to keep in mind for the future. I will say, right, if your team is already shooting the shield, right, you can see it's starting to crack, you might as well just hammer it and just do damage to the Zarya. See, yeah, like this is really like simple stuff, right? But you see this Symmetra overextends and you just like pretty much kill her. I mean, your cast obviously helps too. But like, yeah, you just punish her, like really simple stuff, right? This is fine. You can't push this, right? There's Zarya, it's kind of hard, high charge, and your supports, like this is why another reason I don't like this, your supports are forced to swing wide to heal you here, right? When you extend beyond this corner, you can literally just sit here, let your casts farm like damage, because he's gonna win every 1v1 from this distance, and just not give their like Zarya any value right now, right? Just punish people if they overextend through the choke. It's okay to back up here, right? Once you back up, right, you should be looking to break LOS of the Zarya as soon as possible because she's high charge, right? You don't want to just face tank Zarya at high charge because she's just destroying your shield right now. And if you just like stop shooting her or stop letting her shoot you for a few, her energy kind of like rapidly goes down, right? So you can just stall her out. Also, you should be like shield hopping, which is when you like you know, jump backwards and retract shield at the same time. So it's like she splits her damage between your shield and your armor. Once you have armor, because it like does less damage against the armor and can serve some of your shield, right? And your supports can heal your armor HP, right? So yeah, I don't like this charge, right? You weren't charging anyone in particular. This is kind of a problem I think you have on Ryan. Like you have to have an actual target. Because now the problem is you charge in the open, right? You see they have angles, they have like multiple angles on you. Against a Symmetra, they can like increase your charge quickly if you don't like insta killer and a high charge Zarya, right? So like this is not a time where you want to be engaging, even though you're and they got a pick because now they're going to be forced to kill bot, right? Again, right? If she's high charge and you're low on resources, right? Like your Ana just used nade, just don't charge out like this, right? You like lose your entire armor pool because you're overextending, right? Just literally you can sit here, wait for your supports to heal you, wait to get your cooldowns, and when they peek too close, right, or they lose some of their beam strength or whatever, then that's an opportunity to commit or something like that, right? Now is not the correct time. So your shield's just getting shredded because you're letting them kite you, right? They're playing in the open and baiting you to chase them this way, right? And around here, your team should be shooting them a little too. But really, you want to be like taking the close angle here, right? And letting your DPS punish them for walking out here, right? As you can see, you're literally not doing anything to them anyways by walking out here, except like forcing all your supports to like double pocket, right? And now they're just gonna walk in, just no shield, right? Nothing you can do here. Like, yeah, it seems unfortunate both your DPS died, but you have to consider that both your supports had to heal you there and like double pocket you because you just wasted your shield too early and you kept going for like these charges that wasted all your resources from your team as well. So that can be the tricky thing on tanks sometimes because if you get double pocketed, you won't die a lot of times, but you'll burn out all the resources from your team and like leave the rest of your team to get flanked or killed in some other way. Here I wouldn't be going this way. This kind of sucks, right? It's really easy for them to kite you. Really, you should be like setting up probably with your team, like a main, or even in this room, right? Just clearing out these angles. Because some of your teams probably back spawn or got back spawn, right? Not the end of the world. That's fine, right? Shield, wait to get healed. I'm sure you can see like your supports also really don't want to fight in this area, right? Because like this really sucks. They can't see anything, right? So they can't do anything except heal you. That's my point. Which is why I don't like playing here. Here, right? You overextend beyond this corner. It seems like a really small deal, but now you can't get healed, right? This is, I wouldn't say fine, but it's okay. This is trolling because if they're better, they'll just kill you right now, and you'll just instantly lose the fight, right? I don't know how they don't kill you. Okay, that's fine, whatever. I would say you should have a lot more shield. Obviously use some of it in the grab, but you also kind of wasted it a lot by just overextending and like peeking it. So. This point's gonna be kind of annoying for them, or this specific like choke point, right? Because it's really really closed. Here, don't even bother going for this charge. Literally, you can just like sit here and AFK, right? If they peek you, just start swinging on them, right? Force them away, and try to bait them into peeking your team, right? When you charge like this, you see what you're doing to your team. Now your Ana and Kiri can't heal you. Your DPS can still help you, right? If they're positioned slightly better, they'd be able to help you, right? Your Ana. But you can see your Ana was here, right? And she can heal you if you play kind of like on the left side, but she can't play you when you're like taking this engagement, right? If she just sits here, like someone's gonna get spammed if they just shoot down this line, right? So something to consider. And going for this charge locks your movement in. You see you just like explode here, right? Literally no reason to do this. You have to let them walk a little, and right, so your team can actually help you shoot them. One thing you can also do, ideally, you should be stopping the cart when it's like when its front end is like here, right? So you can literally just stand here or right here, like on the front side of the cart, and make it impossible for them to like push through without taking like this angle up here or this angle up here. You could also just play right here. Like this is the way to let them through choke, right? But they still have to peek these really like small angles into you to force you away. Or yeah, that's pretty much it. And it makes it easier for your team to heal you, but you do lose like the 5-man splash on choke. I think this is probably the better option, but it's something you can play around with, like playing over here to start, right, and just rotating back here, because the rotation is really short, right? Just something to keep in mind. Here, charge back to shield your cast. It's okay. This is fine, right? You just smack her, just entire team dying out of position. Yeah, I mean, this is fine. Literally nothing you can do right now, so. I kind of like it, but I would not expect the Moira to re-peek, right? Like, there's literally nothing she can gain from going this side when she already saw you there. Small detail, but kind of funny. No reason to back up here, right? Like there's Zarya has 0 charge, and right when you literally you can AFK here and she'll never be able to kill you, right? You have to get double pocketed for this to work, but the difference is now everyone's forced to peek into you, and obviously you won't literally be AFK, right? You can actually swing on her when she overextends and do damage to her, right? So you're just kind of backing up and giving space for no reason. And it seems like, yeah, it's nice that you get the pick on the Sombra and kind of bait her to like 5-man EMP and just insta-kill for it. But like if you were here, you'd like force Sombra to either EMP your team or you. And right, like kind of similar on offense, right? When the Sombra's going for your backline, it's more valuable for you to stop her follow-up so she can't get value from like flanking your team, right? Because what happens anyways is she just like 5-man or 4-man EMPs here, gets insta-killed because she's overextended beyond her team. And then like you're here to stop the rest of her team from even getting this close in the first place, right? This is obviously not a lose, like not a bad position, right? No reason to be backing up, right? It's fine here though. Charge me, just trying to bait them in, overextend. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Here I may have tried to greed for the whatever because she's so low, the Zarya because she's so low, or potentially stay out in the open and shatter them because they just got spawns now. So you could pretty much like let their team respawn, shatter them because they're like in a staggerable position, and then just reset the choke. But it's okay to back up here, right? Here, once you get hacked, I just be backing up, right? They're already safe, so there's literally nothing. Like it doesn't seem like that important, but you're giving them ult charge and you're forcing your team to like play up with you because they're forced to swing all the way out here to heal you, which opens them up to getting randomly spammed and killed, right? Or focus and die. But if you literally just sat here, your team has no reason to like peek all the way out here. Yeah, sure, maybe they peek here. Like if they need cover, right? They just they play here and go there, or they play here and they just do this, right? Here they have no cover, so overextending on tank can force like errors from your team a lot of times, right? Definitely a little risky, right? Okay, doors. Nice shatter. Probably should have been a bit more, whatever, patient with the fire strike, but whatever, you won the fight, so. Yeah, this is kind of what I'm talking about. You see, you just kind of charge in. They made some swaps, so you don't know they're on Bastion yet. But you saw they are on Torb from the previous fight, right? And they're also on Ana, and they swapped to Rein, right? And if you get slapped or naded, you just die here. There's literally no reason to be peeking the choke. I think you saw the Rein earlier too. If you literally just AFK here, like it's gonna be a nightmare for them to push in the choke, right? Granted, your cast died, so you also have to give up a bit of space because look how far away his spawn is compared to their team, right? So I'd be looking to play here and maybe kiting to this corner here, right? Because you're down one. But charging like pretty much 1v5 into their choke is like kind of like you're just gonna get all your resources basically. It's fine though, right? It's fine. Nothing more you can do. It's good ult from your Torb. Again, no reason to do this. Right? If you get slept and mated here, you just die. Yep, and you just end up dying for it, right? Especially they have a lot of stuns, right? So if you literally did nothing, unironically, if you literally did nothing, and just AFK'd here, that would have been better than when you did that fight, right? You should have paid for that last fight too. They end up not punishing you last time. You didn't punish that. Really goofy and like needless play there, right?
Payload's moving. Someone stop that.
Yep, I mean, not much to say here, you're right. Just walking back to point.
Hello. Thank you.
Can charge again. Might as well, right? Get back just that much faster. A little unfortunate. You should know that this Rein has Shatter. Because it's been 2 fights, pretty much every 2 fights, you should expect people to have ultimates unless they've been getting absolutely like dumpstered. Just be aware of that, right? I'd expect him to have Shatter here and be looking to do my best to like Shatter block, which means not walking by him. And again, right, you're on defense. If you literally just sit here and pretty much AFK, it's on the imperative on that is on them to make a move. Like right, these corners, even though it's not like as ideal as like stopping the card here and just sitting AFK, like literally right here on the cart, you're still forcing these really close brawl engages where it forces them to like peek through you and peek your entire team, right? Instead of playing around the cart here, like this is like it's you're probably getting sick of hearing it, but it makes literally all the difference, right? Because now no one on your team can see you, right? And you're just peeking their entire team. Like, look, this is what you want. Right from their perspective, like look how many players can shoot you, and look how many players on your team can shoot them, right? They're forced into this tiny angle here, right? Which means it's really easy to spam, and they'll just get solo shattered, right? If their Rein shatters them. But like if you sit here, the inverse is true, right? Now they have to like peek through here to clear you off the cart, which forces them all into this angle here, which allows your team to really easily spam them, right? So just taking these engages at like these improper times, positions, is like really making stuff bad for you, right? Here, you can try to trade backlines against their team comp, right? They have like Reaper, Torb, so you kind of have to shatter their backline to like swing on all of them so they can't get healed, just because they're kind of bulky DPS. Let's come back on Orisa, I guess for the Rein, double shotgun, so it might be a little tough, right, against Ana. Here, keep in mind that your teammates are still some dead, so you have to be slow to come back, right? I think your Ana. Oh yeah, I was about to say I think your Ana is respawning. I guess. Who's this? Oh, that's your cast. I was about to say that did not look like Ana. Regardless, like you should know your teammates just kind of died after you, so you have to wait for them to walk up. It's okay to spam it a little, but I wouldn't be looking to use cooldowns, right? Not taking too much damage. So your supports and your DPS can also spam, right? Here, you're peeking too early, right? Your entire team's not back yet. I guess they're back now. But they're still kind of far back. What you want to be doing now is taking this angle here, right? So your team can peek, because if you just sit here, you're going to kind of force them to like take this early fight or like this bad angle, right? Where they can't spread out, but the enemy team can. But you want to wait for the cart to walk up a little. Like you still have a lot of time on the cart, before you do that, right? You probably want the card around here-ish, so you can stop it like right here and like take an angle here-ish, right? So you can split the attention from your back line. It's okay to spam, right? But you're eating too much damage. Just literally wait to get healed here. No reason to use your gold. If you don't have like a target that, one, you're like full HP when you hit gold, right? So it's like not really helping you. If you don't have a target that you're trying to commit on, right? There's literally no reason to do it because now they can just push you after the gold's over, right? It's kind of like your most important cooldown because it effectively doubles your HP. Right? See, you didn't really even take any damage there. Part of it's obviously because you had the damage resist, but part of it's because you literally weren't getting shot, right? I mean, I think the Torb is pretty much spamming your backline. I mean, he kills your Cass, right? The Reaper's too far away, and the Rein can't shoot, right? And the Ana is healing, and the Moira healing, right? So just wasting this cooldown here just kind of like ends around. Now you can't like commit on the backline member that's overextended. Punish him for being overextended. Unfortunate though, right? Your entire team's gonna die too. Part of it's your fault, part of it's theirs, but pretty close game regardless. I'm sure you can imagine if you played even slightly better one of those fights, right? And stopped like turbo feeding so often, like you would have won this game, right? You wouldn't have even gotten in this position. Especially on like some of those fights on defense at that first joke, right? Okay, so I guess in review, right? I think your positioning needs some work, and by positioning, I mean choosing which corner to fight on, right? And playing like the character matchups and not letting people kite you so easily, right? So like on Sig against Ryan, right? You want to be playing in those open lanes so you can spam them out without getting like hammered yourself. And against Ryan, you want to be playing those close corners, right? And disengaging when people have range on you, right? And letting them walk into you so you can get value, right? Secondly, right, kind of the engagement timing things, right? And this is like, I guess also engagement positionings, just the way you engage. You need to stop engaging into the entire enemy team when your team doesn't have any LOS on them, right? And just thinking about like what corner you're on and where you can literally just do this, just walk to a corner, turn around, see where your team is, and like consider what their positioning can accomplish in regards to what happens if you like extend beyond the corner, right? A rule of thumb, if you don't want to look at your team, which you really should, if you're like unconfident, obviously you'll get like a better idea of like generally where people will be as you rank up and get more comfortable with the game, is when people are like walking into an area, right? That's kind of like the moment you want to punish them, right? When they're walking through chokes and they have limited options, like for example, let me go back a little. For example, this choke here, right? The enemy team only has one option. I mean, they have a few more, right? They have one main option to walk through the choke here, right? So your team can spread out wherever they want, right? For more or less, and have like a ton of angles on this choke point, and like spam everything down this tiny corridor, right? But if you extend here, right? Now the opposite is true, right? Your team has, let's say, charitably one sightline on you. Obviously now it's blocked by the card. And the enemy team has like all this pressure on you, right? You just want this to happen as little as possible. 3, you have to work on your cooldown timings, right? I think you waste important cooldowns a lot, right? Especially your rock and shield on Sigma, right? You also mismanage your charge a lot on Ryan, right? You're just kind of charging in to people that have a ton of angles on you, and they can just kite and beam you down or like shoot you really easily, right? Just being a bit more patient and waiting for people to overextend, right? So you can actually get value out of them instead of like rocking a shield is more valuable, or just letting your shield on Sigma eat random spam so you can like cut off shield or cut off healing if it gets if the player gets low, right? If they're in a comp that like you can't block too much shield damage with, get creative, but don't use it kind of for no reason. Okay, I hope this helps.